I want to build a team that's tough. I want to build a team that's hardworking. I expect our guys to be tough. I expect them to work hard, and I expect them to compete, and I expect that because I and my staff will do the same thing every day.
Last week, the Nebraska Cornhuskers opened their home schedule in style.
Picture-perfect night for Cornhusker football inside Memorial Stadium. Play action, back to throw, wide open down the middle field, pass, caught, touchdown, Thomas Fagoni. Turns, throws downfield, the pass is going to be picked off in front of the Husker bench. INT for Quentin Newsom, his first career INT. Anthony bounces to the outside of the 10 to the 5, he is in. Touchdown, Nebraska. That's my man. Lombardi, play actions, being rushed, gets hit, goes down, another sack for the Cornhuskers, and Jay Sherman, the first on the scene. Play action, back to throw, wide open down the middle field, pass, caught, touchdown, Thomas Fagoni. Both sidelines come off to go shake some hands, fireworks going off over the north scoreboard. Huskers get win number 1 for Matt Rule here tonight as they put away the Huskies with a big second half. Terrific performance by the offense, racking up 364 yards, and then the dominant performance by the defense as Nebraska goes to 1-2 with a 35-11 win here tonight.
The Huskers are looking to even the season record at 2-2 and start off 2-0 at home as they welcome the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs to town.
Take it to Moody. Blockmeyer delivers over the middle. Caught. Smoke Harris inside the 25-yard line. Goodbye. Touchdown, Smoke Harris.
Nebraska was hit with some tough injury news earlier in the week.
We had some guys, seasons end early, unfortunately. Demir Johnson left surgery for dislocated his shoulder. Gabe Irvin dislocated his hip and left surgery on his hip, so he'll be done for the year. Dwight Boodle hurt his shoulder in the game and left that surgery, so he'll be done for the year. So the football impact aside, especially for Amir, who's a senior, I can just tell you it's heartbreaking on this end.
Now, it's next man up. It's football time in Lincoln.
I know for a lot of the fans, and for a lot of people that care deeply about this program, this game was probably about having some hope. I got on that bus today. I've never experienced the crowd and all those things. That was great. Giff walked up to me and he said, "You know what, Coach? No matter what, this will never get old." And I said, "I know."
This is Husker Game Day, presented by Dakota Mac. Here is your host, Ben McLaughlin.
Well, normally I have some words of wisdom, some nice prepared words to start a broadcast, but we just went full circle in the last 4 minutes before we hit airtime in our off-air conversations, and there are some tears flowing here in the booth. Welcome to the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day Show on arguably the greatest college football Saturday slate of the year.
Yeah,
there are some phenomenal football games
very
today.
impressive, and it's all the time slots too. So we'll have our fill.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Damon Benning, Ben McLaughlin, this is the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day Show. We have you for the next 2 hours here on the Huskers Radio Network. Nebraska getting their first win in the Matt Rule era last week against Northern Illinois, return home to take on Sonny Cumbie, former name for Big 12 football fans, and the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs at 2:30 here at Memorial Stadium. We had to start out the show with a little humor because this has been a pretty dramatic week, Damon, with the news and the notes of Husker football this week, and I feel like doing a disservice to put that off. Let's just talk about the storylines that have been all week. Let's just start first with quarterback. It's been reported that Heinrich Haarberg will start today. Jeff Sims making some good progress, potentially available to play today in an emergency situation, but sounds like it's Heinrich's show again this week. Before we kind of dive into how we got here this week, let's talk about what you saw from him last week and what you thought of his first start, how he was able to manage the game and make some plays when he needed to.
Well, I thought the most positive thing was how he handled his emotions, right? Not only the first start, but then the quick success with the first drive, then the turnover on the second drive, and kind of having to keep his composure and lead his football team. And I felt like that's encouraging. That's definitely something you could build around. So I thought the emotional wherewithal last week was a lot greater than the physical wherewithal. And as we saw, he didn't have any problems with physicality either, right? He was laying the wood. So I was encouraged, and I think it gave the fan base kind of something to rally around. We wanted a feel-good story, and that game kind of unfolded exactly kind of how you and I wanted it to, where just kind of a physical grinder, let's see if we can line up and play football kind of style, and I think Nebraska's got some confidence.
It took a while, right? It took a while to get going, but I think that's just how this offense, I think, is going to work in a day and age where we're spreading it around and we're throwing it around, and you can see, offenses that get up and down the field and that are designed to hit you quickly. That's not how this is designed. And I think, like, if you were to look at the blueprint of how this offense is supposed to work, it follows pretty closely what you saw last week. And I know there was some parts of the game there in the middle where it got stale, but you and I looked at the box score in the 5th quarter show and said, hey, we scored in every quarter. We scored a touchdown in every quarter. So clearly, the pressure was on Northern Illinois, even when maybe it didn't seem to be on them.
It's funny because I remember when you pointed that out in the post game, and you do this a lot during the broadcast, full disclosure. You'll point out things that we don't realize real time. I almost didn't believe you, right? but it was kind of because it was kind of your delivery. You're kind of just oh-hum. Like, they did score every quarter. And I was like, wait, they did? It felt like there was a significant lull. But Nebraska was consistent in being consistent. If you really want to play complimentary football, that looked a lot like complimentary football last week. Now, we'll see how portable it is. I mean, you're going to have to make some big plays eventually, and there's the handful of plays the quarterback's got to make and get some help from his receivers. But we're not there yet. So I think it's as important for us, me, you, to stay in the moment and enjoy what's going on just like it is for this football team. We can worry about next week.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I don't know that's something that we can necessarily overlook. Where it starts to get complicated is when, by the time you and I did the post game to when we woke up the next morning,
unbelievable.
The tone completely changed because we felt great leaving the stadium about how this offense looked, how it was supposed to look, and it was just like, okay,
we're joking around, cleaning up, high-fiving Nate Rohr, like we're telling jokes.
You forgot for a second that you're Nebraska and you can't have nice things because top 2 running backs, we found out, had surgery. Ramir, Gabe out for the year. I mean, the thing that I keep going back to all week was when I asked you a question in the postgame about the confidence that the players have to have and Coach Satterfield and this offensive staff that's like, hey, if we just do this, it works. And it seemed like that was my biggest takeaway from the offense, and that was just ripped right from your fingers in the next day.
Yeah, and his experience and his wherewithal is going to be tested. I talked to him earlier this week, just exchanging messages, and his main message was this offense takes time. And we saw it it was talked about in kind of the macro from Coach Rule. Hey, we do a lot of different things up front. Sometimes it's G scheme, sometimes it's duo, it's zone, it's this, it's that. He goes, we ask our guys to do a lot, and it takes time. And so I feel like patience will be the theme with this football team, whether it's us watching kind of a methodical surgical effort, whether it's kind of weathering some temporary overcasts of weather, not literally but figuratively with this team in terms of injuries. I think patience will kind of be this team's calling card. Maybe perseverance, but something along those lines.
You've been around this game a long time. You've been in different situations to where you show up at your coach's meeting the next day after a game, whatever the reason may be, an injury, a scheme that went horribly, whatever it might have been, and you go, okay, guys, now what? I kind of feel like there might have been a little bit of that with Nebraska's offense and Coach Satterfield and the assistants. Like, okay, well, now what do we do? Can we stick to the script? Do we have to deviate? Are our quarterbacks running 20 times a game now? Like, what do you think those conversations, where did they start this week about what shift, if any, needed to be made?
Yeah, so how about the term that I think of as practical application. You talk about next man up. You talk about perseverance. You talk about weathering the storm where you're getting it. It's kind of like when you pray for patience. You don't just get patience. You get the things that grow patience where you have a chance to develop. So now Nebraska's got to put the money where their mouth is. If this is the sum is greater than the parts, then you're going to get the practical application of it. Who truly is the next man up? We saw it a little bit intermittently defensively, especially against Minnesota, right? No Reimer Henrich, and you're missing a couple guys, and we're worried about, oh, wow, next inside linebacker up is Buddha, right? Like, what are we going to do? And then it was the quarterback situation. Now it's the running back situation. They're not super deep at wide receiver. It's just like, okay, we talk a lot about this. What does it look like in its practical sense? And you're going to see it this week. Staying the course, doubling down, next man up. open tryouts for another running back spot. Like all these little things that we kind of take for granted, they get a chance to live out real life. So I think for them, put it to the test. Put it to the test.
I think one of the old cliches that is a cliche for a reason, because I think it rings true, is the natural sense that if somebody goes down of importance, everybody else around them has to step up. Like, that's the oldest cliche in the book, but I don't know that it can ring any more true, right? As a Chiefs fan, when Patrick Mahomes goes down and Chad Henne comes rolling in at 41 years old against the Jaguars, you're looking at everybody else to make a play, right? And I think that is kind of the same way. That way of thinking with Nebraska's offensive line, I don't know that this part gets talked about enough with Nebraska's O-line and kind of the conversations within that group, because a decent amount of moving parts. Teddy Prohaska remains to be a wild card in this scenario. We see kind of the big package at times where they'll go big, they'll go 31 personnel, and they'll get big. And I see the smile on your face from where I'm sitting in the booth every time they do it. But what type of conversations did Coach Raiola have with his boys this week?
I tell you what, isn't he something? I talked to him for a long time after the game on Saturday. We were up at the Players Lounge, and I just told him that in some weird kind of adult to adult way, I was just proud of his perseverance. I love his personality. He just stays the course, and he kind of gives me that wry grin, and he said, that's the only thing I know. We go to work every day. We'll let the results be what they may, but we go to work. And how about how creative they were with how they worked Teddy back in, lining up in some of those big jumbo packages. They were letting him play what would be considered an inline tight end, where he's got a guy to his left, he's got somebody to his right. He's not out there on an island in space at his normal tackle spot, so he gets a chance to get acclimated to playing again and really grinding. So I thought that was pretty cool. He's still continuing to bring guys along like Justin Evans-Jenkins, who you can use multiple ways. So I like the fact that they're sticking with they're showing some conviction. And there's power in that, Benny Mac. It's not some cute term you use. When you get a chance to actually show some resolve and you show some success coming out of the back end, it's cool to watch unfold as a team, and hopefully they can continue to build on that this week, because you're trying to ramp up, right? You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And so I think for them, if it's 1% better, 3% better, they want to be better up front than they were a week ago. And now they get a prime opportunity to help out a running back spot that looks a little depleted, but all hope isn't lost. They'll play football.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot of psychology to this point. Let's get into the football side of things for a second. One thing that I just continue to be impressed with every week are the wrinkles that we're seeing in the running game, right? I mean, we're seeing so many different styles of rushing attacks schematically from this team in just 3 weeks. We have seen a lot of different wrinkles. We've seen the split zone. We've seen just the flat options. We've seen outside zone. We've seen a little bit of everything. When you're a former running back watching how they're approaching the running game, I would imagine they're going to put a couple more things in at this point moving forward with just personnel changes. What impresses you about what they're able to do?
Their creativity. As I'm telling you, B-Mac, it's tough, right? Sometimes, you just mentioned it, sometimes it's duo, sometimes it's inside zone, sometimes it's outside zone. Sometimes they pin and pull. You add in the option game. You get near sets. You get far sets. All of a sudden, your track changes as a running back. It's not simply just getting the ball and running the ball. So it's kind of cool to watch unfold. Now, it may take a little time for young guys to get involved because it's very conceptual, right? You have to know big picture because they do have so many wrinkles. But once you get it, it can be fun. I think describing what we're describing about this offense is why it takes a little time. I joked about Novocaine a couple of weeks ago, but that's really what they're after. Coach Rule talked about it in the presser this week. They do a lot of different things, and some coaching staffs do it differently. Sometimes they parcel it out, and you get a lot of a la carte, and hopefully you get a good meal. They give you the meal, and then they'll pick and choose what's palatable, what's good for the palate as they go along. And I'm okay with that because they do show some creativity.
So where I want to go with this next is we've talked about it from a Nebraska standpoint, but let's talk about it from an opponent standpoint. And it was interesting listening to Coach Cumbie talk about the challenges Nebraska is going to pose this week for them, not only just in terms of size and personnel, but scheme. I mean, just putting something on tape and having the coaching staff spend time saying, okay, if they do this, how do we do this? How much time do we spend practicing it? You know, and then to be hit with something completely different. Context here, like when Nebraska plays Iowa, you know exactly what style of running you're going to get.
Yeah.
Watch the cutbacks, stay disciplined in your lanes, all of that stuff, and you know that's what you're going to get for 4 quarters. With Nebraska, it seems like there's a bunch of different things. Like why does Colorado do the swinging gate formation for PATs? Something else to prepare for, something else to spend time on. But when it's something as complex and as important as a rushing game or as a rushing scheme, as an opponent and as an opponent coach, how do you spend time figuring out how potentially they're going to attack you? I feel like that's another wrinkle that maybe gives Nebraska a secret advantage.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, and you're spot on. And listen, as a guy that coaches defense, if I were to see an offense like this that can pin and pull, or they run some gap scheme, or I talked about duo and zone, these are just different ways to run the ball. Then all of a sudden you sprinkle in some counter where you're like pulling backside guards and it's not zone. It changes the way that you can play defense. We've talked about this since the Minnesota game, right? Just the ability to have some downhill run game changes the way that these sideline to sideline defenses are built, right? It's all about speed and, you know, gapping teams out and trying to wreak these havoc plays. But I'm telling you, you watch Nebraska's how they try to run the ball with their different schemes, it is a headache. Pay really close attention today, I think. It's funny you bring this up. When Nebraska goes to like counter and you see pullers, how La Tech likes to play kind of this, we want to create havoc, gap you out. You better figure out how to be disciplined too, or you could get creased, right? This could be one of those games for Nebraska in the run game that could be feast or famine. You could see a couple of 1-2 yard gains, then all of a sudden see a 15-20 yard gain just because you get creased. I'm very, very curious to watch that unfold because Nebraska is so multiple in terms of their running styles.
Yeah, and I think this is a perfect transition now because we've talked about running the football here for close to 10 minutes. I haven't even talked about the guy that's going to be carrying it yet, and Anthony Grant. You and I are secret members of the Anthony Grant fan club. We meet on Wednesday mornings.
100%.
I'm excited to see AG go because I think there's a little bit of misconception about where Nebraska is at the running back spot now. It's not a drop-off from Gabe Ervin or Ramir to AG, in my opinion. It's more of a depth concern than anything. But the way that you were just describing how potentially Nebraska could pop a few big ones today, that fits his style. That's what makes Anthony Grant a good running back because his vision and those subtle little moves that he has in a hole, it makes him so slippery, and that's what makes him so dynamic.
Oh, man, listen, you must be feel good Saturday, right? You're just playing to my heartstrings. I'm with you, lockstep. And his style, and there were a couple of runs. I was telling some of my buddies, these football junkies, I'm like, I know it's a 6 or 7 yard gain, but some of these cuts he's making, it's like he's literally running between 2 parked cars, right? Like, those are the creases that he's looking at. And I'm a big see the crease, be the crease kind of guy. Like, you want to be in it when you see it. And just his partnership and buying into what Coach Barthel is telling him in terms of the nuances and understanding how plays are designed, and then let your natural ability take over. Like I would tell AG, and I know this is what Coach Barthel says, is stay on your path until something gets you off. Now, once something gets you off, commit to it. Expect to come out of the back end. Make sure you hand the ball to the official one way or another and snap it again. Whether it's after a touchdown, give it back to him. Whether it's after a 4-yard carry, give it back to him. Whether it's a 30-yard run, give it back to him. Oh, you always want to be in a position where you hand the ball back to the official.
Yeah, well, and I know there's a lot of people rolling their eyes off their face right now at us talking about Grant this way because of what happened in Minnesota. But as fans, we're very much, what have you done for me lately?
Oh, 100%.
And I think we haven't really given a full thought to where Anthony Grant was after the first month of the season last year. I mean, he was up there with the nation's leading rushers and what he was able to do. And it was clear from the first game plus a quarter that Nebraska had found a gem with Anthony Grant, from the junior college ranks. And you and I both know this is a motivated young man after Colorado. What all went into that circumstance, that's between he and the coaches to figure out and to get over. But as a competitor, when you don't see the field and you're pouring everything you have into it, that has to light a fire. And this is the worst possible situation to be given the job, is the two guys in front of you go down. But at this point, there's a lot of eyes on AG and what he does with this opportunity.
Yeah, it just is a chance to reinforce what the theme has been. Make the most of opportunities, next man up, perseverance. That all of those things describe kind of AG's climb. And talking to Coach Barthel after the game on Saturday, all the things that they're doing to prepare Anthony for this moment are long-term plays, not short-term fixes. They're to build for the future. They definitely think he's a talented enough guy to make money playing this sport at the professional level. And so the day-to-day rigor and the accountability and the growth that they demand of him Monday through Friday will lend itself to what you see on Saturdays, and will further lend itself to what you see as he continues to mature into adulthood. And that's all they've ever asked of him. And now he's seeing it, right? You see the carrot, it gets dangled, and you're not quite there yet. You want to eat, you get a little nibble. It just keeps him on the hunt. And it's just like everybody else on the rest of the team. Don't be satisfied. Stay the course. What is it that we talk about? What is it that we're trying to achieve? Where am I? And what am I doing? And he definitely embodies that. Yeah,
100%. I think that's probably what people are going to be paying most attention to today. Offensively, on the other hand, with Louisiana Tech today, how efficient and what does Nebraska's rushing attack look like? I mean, I think it definitely has our attention up here. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is proud to sponsor Touchdowns for Teachers to recognize outstanding educators in Nebraska. If there's a teacher that makes your community great, find a nomination form at huskers.com/teachers. Selected teachers will win a spring game VIP experience and classroom visit from Herbie Husker. We also need to thank our friends at Farmers Mutual of Nebraska. Experience the personalized difference when your insurance is kept local. Visit fmne.com to contact an agent near you. Just over 90 minutes left in our program. The Huskers Radio Network's coverage of Husker Game Day is on the air. We'll have countdown to kickoff to follow, and of course, headed to a 2:30 kickoff between Nebraska and Louisiana Tech. We'll step aside for our first break. When we come back, we'll dissect a little bit of what we saw last week against Northern Illinois, some of the good things that have got us excited about where Nebraska is going in terms of direction after 2 losses to start the year. That's coming up next. Stay with us.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Farmers Mutual of Nebraska is proud to support Husker athletics. Having a confident teammate beside you makes all the difference when it comes to protecting what matters most. With a proven track record of dependable coverage, unmatched financial strength, and a prompt claim service team right here in Nebraska, that's insurance kept local. Visit fmne.com to contact an agent for a quote today. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
There's no community like a Cenex community, and that's why every Cenex store is so proud to serve theirs by supporting local athletic teams, promoting the arts, and making sure each store is a place its neighbors can find what they need, catch up with their friends, and stay connected. It's also why we give back, helping to make the wonderful places we call home the best they can be. Your local Cenex doesn't just work in your town, it lives there. The store next door, powered locally at Cenex.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
You'll be seeing us around soon, and when you do, I bet you'll call us BMO. Don't worry, it's more common than you think, but we actually pronounce it BMO. As in, with BMO, you can earn a cash reward every month you save. Or, did you know BMO's been helping customers for over 200 years? So when you do see us, pop in and say hi. Not to BMO, to BMO. And yes, bank is still pronounced bank. Learn more about us at BMO.com. BMO. Conditions apply. Accounts are subject to approval and are provided in the United States by BMO Bank N.A. member FDIC.
There's room at the table, saving you money on every gallon at a CVA fuel site. Central Valley Ag offers a 5-cent per gallon discount at the pump to CVA fuel card holders. Now, for a limited time, get a 5-cent discount and be entered to win 2 VIP tickets to a Husker football game when you get a new or additional CVA fuel card. Sign up to win at cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Here's to the locals, raised right here in the Western Corn Belt. The strong ones. We help them grow stronger, making world-class genetics research and technology local. The cutting-edge yet common-sense agronomy, the shake-em-up yields. Because we're born and raised here too, and we'll keep raising the bar to ensure you only get the best at Hoegemeyer. Raised local, raised right here. Learn more at therightseed.com.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day-by-day donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at huskers.com/donate.
Tired of worrying about what to make for dinner? Try Gary's Quick Steak. It's delicious, convenient, and easy to make in minutes as it cooks from frozen. It also has over 20 grams of protein per serving, is gluten-free, and is made with real beef and chicken. Enjoy sandwiches, enchiladas, stir-fry, quality sirloin, chicken, and corned beef ready in minutes. Simply sizzle, flip, and savor.
I promise you, if you try it, you're absolutely going to love it.
Visit our website to find a store near you.
We could tell you all about what makes Ford F-Series the #1 trucks in America for 46 straight years. But why tell you when we could show you instead? Because in the Midwest, talk is cheap and actions speak. On the lake, on the job, or on the town, choose the trucks that deliver on the claims. Ford F-Series is made for the real world. This is Chiefs Kingdom. Get 3.9% financing for 66 months, plus up to $3,750 bonus cash on F-150 XLT, official truck of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification on the Huskers Radio Network.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
My McDonald's rewards have arrived at McDonald's. Download the McDonald's app and earn points. The more you spend, the more points you get, the more you can redeem for free McDonald's food. This is the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day Show on the Huskers Radio Network. Ben McLaughlin alongside former Husker running back, national champion Damon Benning. DB, let's talk last week. It's been a while since we had a feeling like that walking out of the stadium. Really dominating effort. We spent a lot of time talking about offense in our first segment. Let's talk defense. And, man, Tony White's crew just continues to do it game in and game out. Three tries, I would call it 3 successes, even though some would probably argue that with Colorado with the final stat line that the Buffs had on Nebraska. But it's hard not to be really optimistic about this crew the way these guys are playing right now.
Yeah, 100%, right? And our partner was teasing me earlier this week that, I'm sending flowers and love letters to Coach White. The man crush is in full effect, but it stems from the fact he's such a good teacher, right? I mean, you don't play 20-some-odd guys in game 3 of the season and not know how to teach, right? So that's kind of my favorite thing. And he's only going to get better as his guys get more comfortable in the system and kind of settle into their roles. Like, he does these little quiet things, like move Jabari Butler from like a jack to a 5 technique, right? Or, slide in bear. Or it took, I think you pointed out, yeah, you're the spotter on the spot. Like, we didn't even realize Luke Reimer wasn't playing, right? And you're like pointing, and I'm like, yeah, we missed that. Like, because now you don't know if the guys are playing because they have to play or it's just intentional because they want them to play. That's a really good problem to have, and that's a testament to Coach White.
So to kind of put that in context for folks, back in the day, Nebraska may rotate 14, 15, maybe 16 guys, and any time I would see somebody new in, I'd be all over, we got so-and-so in the game. So Minnesota, on that first drive, I'm freaking out because there's 19 new guys. I'm like, what is happening? What's going on? And now it's just like, I don't even bother pointing out new guys because there's so many. But I think with that, Damon, comes you talked about the teaching aspect of it, which I think is maybe the first part, but I think maybe 1B or even 2 under that is the level of expectation when you're in there.
Yeah.
It's not we're putting you in because of X or Y. You're going in there because we trust you to go in there and make a play. You have done enough for me to trust you to put you in that position. And you got to give a lot of credit to those 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 guys that are in there because they're all making the most of it when they're in there for the most part.
Yeah, spot on. It's just like, the way that they kind of embrace their roles and their ability to be developed is different. It's because it's not natural, right? Some guys are buying time. Like if a guy like Bear is saying to himself, you know what, I had to ask these guys, do you even run me around? Like, am I part of this future process? Or, Bullock moving from the 3rd level to the 2nd level saying, like, you guys really believe that I can do this? Or Tommy Hill and his redemption story. Like, there are so many good. Javen Wright, his ability to overcome injuries and play a new position and flourish in his position. Or Blaze Gunner Center. There's just a ton of examples, man. And I think it's just relationship building 101 and that teaching component that you're talking about.
I want to talk about Buddha for a second because every once in a while there's a play in a game that you want to just stand up and flip the table over because you're so because there's so much backstory that goes into just being happy Nebraska made a good play. And Javen had a few at Colorado that went right through his hands or right over his fingertips, and you feel like, man, that would have been great to see that for him. But to see it actually happen last week, I mean, all of us in the booth, I think, simultaneously had some type of outward emotional reaction when that happened.
Yeah.
But I know you're obviously very, very closely tied with him. To see something like that for a kid who's gone through more than some of us will have to go through in a lifetime at just 18, 19, 20 years old. What was that like to watch?
I don't know. See, this is why I like coming to work, right? Because I'm like, you just keep teeing. You're like the guy that's throwing sliders that don't slide, right?
I did do that when I played.
You've been a hitter, right? And guys throw you a slider, and those turn into home run balls, right? You just keep lobbing me these 50-course softballs, and he's one of my favorites, right? I called him nephew and for a reason, and just a testament to his resolve and kind of what Nebraska continues to preach. You never know when your opportunity is going to come, what it is. It's like proof of concept, too, with their development. Hey, we see you in this role. Are you all in? I know this is a little different than what you're used to, but we think you can play here. Do you trust us? Yes, coach. Okay. Well, let's see how that manifests itself. And so to watch him flourish and be healthy and smile and get one last week, that's really what I think. This is still amateur athletics, contrary to popular belief for me, because it's young people trying to grow and mature. Man, it was a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. And, I mean, you're obviously closer to him than Greg and I, but when that has that trickle-down effect where everybody's feeling it, it's just truly a special moment.
I think we gave some high fives.
Oh,
I know G Sharp's a fist bumper, but I mean, it's like we were just going crazy because we were just talking about he's going to get one.
Yeah.
He's close. He's been around the ball, and I think Sharpie spoke it into existence. Like at some point, these are going to turn into takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
And right on cue, he got one.
How with you think about the Big Ten and what offenses, Rutgers has just scored on Michigan already, by the way. So
that's the one, right? I've loved this matchup all week long. They're going to be a handful for Michigan.
Yeah, and they are already. But with all the different styles of offense that you've seen, not just in non-con but in conference play too, the model of consistency, I think there's a certain measuring stick already with what Husker fans are going to expect with the black shirts moving forward. How do they stay consistent? How do they keep this level of play more times than not, because we all know 12 games, there's going to be a handful here and there to where things don't go the way that you want. But how do they keep this train moving in the right direction?
So I think you fall in love with the process, and they keep reiterating the process. And I always say things like, where are we and what are we doing? But that's just code for self-awareness. And so as long as Nebraska's defense continues to know where they are fundamentally, you heard Coach Rule. How many coaches go into the mistakes real time in a presser with just recall? Hey, you know what? We got out leveraged here, or hey, they got over the top here, or this guy was running open. We just happened to get a pressure. Like, there's plenty of room for growth. They just stay on the gas. And I think as long as you stay in the moment and you keep your fingertips dry from not reading the press clippings and let the ink get a little messy, they'll be just fine, because all this staff knows is to stay in the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to bring up, especially when I think another theme to maybe get lost in all week was handling winning. I mean, Nebraska lost a heartbreaker in Minneapolis. We all know this. Had a real chance to beat Colorado. Things really slipped away late. Turnovers obviously killed Nebraska. So two completely different feelings going back to work when you're the team. Make it a third when you have a decisive victory. But I think in ingraining that mentality into your players, that's what makes this easier, is regardless of result, we have to do what we've been doing. Otherwise, things are going to get off kilter, and the result on Saturday is going to be another one that you're not happy with.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I think staying in the moment is so important. It's not the play previous. It's not the play going forward. It's that 60-second clock where when you get the play call, you execute the play, you analyze the result, you flush it, and you do it over again. If you can stay in that minute-to-minute and it's kind of second-to-second mentality, it'll keep you pretty safe.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be Coach Rule's message moving forward. And I think it has been. I mean, he has been the model of consistency anytime he has spoken to the media about, you know, what's going on with his team, what he's telling his players, things of that nature. And, you know, I don't think this week is different than any other one moving forward. And let's be honest, I mean, you've got a lot of kinks to iron out before, you know, these ones really start to matter. It hurts letting that one slip away against the Gophers, you know, kind of evaluating where the Big Ten West is at this point. But, you know, I think it's something that you need to pay attention to. And I think Coach Rule is definitely paying attention to the right things.
Yeah.
The 1890 Initiative, helping Husker athletes navigate name, image, and likeness. To learn more or donate, visit 1890nebraska.com. Started to see some more foot traffic outside of Memorial Stadium, headed to a 2:30 kickoff about just a few hours away from kickoff now, and I'm sure the roads are starting to pick up as well. Seatbelt use saves lives and prevents injuries. Nearly 15,000 lives saved per year. Buckle up. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Let's go ahead and welcome into our broadcast for the first time, Trooper Dave.
Hey, thanks, Ben and Damon. And good morning, fans. Good to be back home for a day game. Throw a jacket or umbrella in your car. That way you won't need it. There's a slight chance for some rain early, but it looks good for later afternoon. Quite a few fans have already made it down here, so that will help out with traffic. I-80 westbound out of Omaha for now is traveling at normal speed. You look good all the way up past 56th Street. As always, that right lane will slow down as you approach 27th and I-180. Highway 6 from Gretna down to the mall is still free-flowing. If you stay on 6, it looks good to Waverly. 905th Road by Gross is seeing normal game day traffic. Highway 77 from Wahoo looks good down to 80. Highway 34 in from Seward is moving well up to the Air Park. Eastbound 80 from York all the way up to the 395 is seeing moderate traffic and also moving at normal speeds. And I-180 into downtown is also seeing moderate traffic but moving well. The radar looks clear, but we still have some patchy fog and mist in areas, so kick those headlights on and slow down. Fans, if the last thing going through your mind is putting on your seatbelt, the next thing going through your mind could be your windshield. Don't gamble with your life. Put those seatbelts on. This has been Trooper Dave of the Nebraska State Patrol Traffic Report on the Huskers Radio Network.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Preparation. It's the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pregame routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker pride. powered locally.
Challenge. It's not something you shy from. It's a chance to up your game. Every day brings a new challenge. But with the enhanced Channel Seed brand on your side, you can rise to it. With our top-performing seed, innovative digital tools, and expanded agronomic support, you can turn tomorrow's challenges into your next advantage. Your enhanced Channel Seed brand. Let's rise to the challenge. Learn more at channel.com/rise. Read and follow pesticide label directions, IRM, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal, because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
Get ready to rule the field and revolutionize your farming game with Valley, the game changer in irrigation and ag tech solutions. With time and labor-saving measures, ground-truthing results, and effective input reduction, Valley provides the perfect game plan so you stay ahead of what's in the field. From the best in irrigation and cutting-edge ag tech solutions to personalized support, Valley is your winning team. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Blair is your trusted auto partner with savings on Ram models to fit your lifestyle. During the Make This the Summer sales event, get $9,424 off MSRP on a new Ram 1500 Quad Cab Warlock or $8,746 off MSRP on a 2023 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn. Built for summer adventures with massive towing and hauling capability and 4 legendary engines to choose from. Serving the Metro since 1991, this is Woodhouse. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra. $299 doc fee due at signing. When finance with Chrysler Capital. Offer expires 7/31/2023. See dealer for details.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm sports media student Connor Clark with Campus News. More than $145 million in gross revenue has been generated by startup companies founded by alumni of UNL's Angler Agribusiness Entrepreneurship Program since the program began in 2010. With over 230 Angler Program alumni growing businesses across Nebraska, the Angler Program is making a big impact on the lives of students, alumni, and Nebraskans.
More Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic care first. Studies show that chiropractic is safe, drug-free, and the most effective treatment option for back, neck, and joint pain. It can also help patients of all ages reduce migraines, improve mobility, and maximize athletic performance. Keep the entire family healthy and active with natural, cost-effective chiropractic care. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
There's no community like a Cenex community. And that's why every Cenex store is so proud to serve theirs by supporting local athletic teams, promoting the arts, and making sure each store is a place its neighbors can find what they need, catch up with their friends, and stay connected. It's also why we give back, helping to make the wonderful places we call home the best they can be. Your local Cenex doesn't just work in your town, it lives there. The store next door, powered locally at Cenex.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back into Husker Game Day. I'm Jessica Cootie. It's time for this week's Cornhusker Conversation. This week, I sat down with Nash Hutmacher. At his press conference earlier this week, defensive coordinator Tony White had some high praise for Nash, saying he believes he's one of the best defensive linemen in the country and that he's a guy you want to root for because he does everything right on and off the field. Nash has been a guy that's been very bought into the culture and what this coaching staff has wanted to implement here in Lincoln. He was awarded a single digit and chose number 0, 10 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks on the season, anchoring the Nebraska defensive front that ranks second in the country in rushing defense. Making a name for himself on the football field now, but he first was a star on the wrestling mat. Here's my conversation with Nash Hutmacher.
How good did Saturday feel, walking off the field on Saturday night?
It was awesome just to have that good of a performance on the defensive side of the ball and then just playing complementary football with the offense, defense, special teams, all working together and just playing a good game throughout the whole time. It felt really awesome. It was a really good feeling.
Through 3 games, you guys are second in the nation in rush defense. I mean, you're making it very hard for teams to run the football. What is it about what you guys are doing up front that is making it such a challenge for opposing teams?
It's playing with the mindset that I know, like in the defensive line room, we're playing with the mindset that we make the whole thing go. Like if we are the ones that have to set the tone for the rest of the defense, and I think that's been really awesome. And it's just the effort. Not every play is perfect, but guys are running the ball, guys are getting to the ball, guys are just attacking the ball all the time, and that's what's really awesome to see. And that's why it's making it tough for teams to run the ball. Is just the effort that we're playing with.
You guys are able to run in a lot of different guys too. How is it so seamless that it's like a line change and there's no drop off when you guys are switching in and out?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome. We've always had like the next man up mentality with it. With some of the other guys rotating in, it's been awesome. Everyone's locked in on the sidelines. Everyone's tuned into the game, talking about stuff when we get to the sidelines. And when Coach T. Knight says, whoever's out there, those guys are ready to go, strapped up, ready to go, and go out there and play the same brand of football that everyone else is playing. So it's really awesome.
What does that do for you guys, knowing that you do have guys that can come in and back you up and that it won't drop off?
It's awesome. It's just no matter what happens in the game, right? We're going to be okay. There's other guys on this defense that can play at a really high level, and it's awesome. It just makes the game easier. You can just to be able to rotate guys like that, be fresh the whole game. It's awesome.
My favorite huddle to listen into on the sidelines on game day is Terrence Knight, and he seems like such a fun guy to play for, and how he balances coaching you guys up and then also having fun. What is it like playing for him?
Yeah, I love playing for Coach Knight, and he's awesome. Like you said, the way he balances coaching us up and being locked in and also having fun with it is awesome. It's like the perfect balance. Keeps everyone locked in, but it keeps everyone having fun playing the game. I mean, it's football, it's a game. It keeps everyone having fun doing what we're doing. So playing for him is awesome, and all the guys, in the room just really love playing for that guy.
He has so much belief in you guys from top to bottom. And how important has that been for not just you, but some of those young guys too, that, hey, he is so confident in you guys, and he knows no matter what, you guys are going to go out there and dominate.
Yeah, just him instilling that confidence in us, because he's so confident in us, it's awesome. He really has all the guys in the room believing that they can play big-time football, and that's how we approach it every week, and it's really just awesome to see how confident he is in all the guys.
How good is he at developing? I mean, you came in, you played a lot of football, but then you got a lot of younger guys that are just playing under him for the first season. How good is he at developing and teaching the game?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's been around the game, obviously played at a really high level for a long time. He knows everything about the defensive line. He develops those young guys really well, and keeps us older guys, keeps developing us as time goes on too. So it's really awesome to see.
One of the things I had to ask you about, number 0. The single digits, obviously a really big deal to this program now. When you hear your name is a single digit, why 0?
For me, it was having the guys vote me as a single digit was awesome. Like, that was a great feeling. And then he asked me what number I wanted, and 0 just made sense. It just, like, I'm playing nose. It just made sense in my eyes. And Coach T. Knight also was like, hey, if you get selected to be a single digit, you have to pick 0. It just makes sense, and I agreed 100% with him. So it was just that's kind of how that happened. It just kind of made sense to me.
You talk about how special it was for you to be voted that. I mean, for the time that you've been here, and I know you've been stepping into a leadership role, how special was that for you that the guys see you in that way?
It was really awesome to just know that the rest of the team sees me in that way, and I've just been trying to develop myself into that role as best I can, and still getting better every day. But it was a really good feeling to kind of have all that come to fruition, I guess.
Tony White just called you one of the best defensive linemen in the country, making a name for yourself on a football field. But in South Dakota, you're known for what you did on the wrestling mat, right?
Yep.
One of the most dominant, 4-time state champion, right? When did you get into wrestling? First grade, right?
Yeah, like really young. I could, like, kindergarten, first grade, like really young, I started wrestling.
Why did you get into wrestling?
It just, some of my buddies did it, and I was like, well, I might as well, give it a shot, and ended up obviously getting pretty good at it. So that was really it. Some of my friends did it, so I was like, well, I'm gonna give it a shot.
That's an understatement. Pretty good at it. How did you develop into, you were so dominant and really at a young age you started like pinning people left and right, right? How did you get to that point where you were so good at it?
It's just through my coaches and everyone around me. My support system in high school was unbelievable. Everyone helping me to get better all the time and just pushing myself, like going to big tournaments and wrestling the other best guys in the country. That's where that came from, I think. Just pushing myself, not just wrestling guys in South Dakota, but going out of the state and wrestling the best guys around the nation really helped me to become pretty good.
So you were known for wrestling. How did you get into football? How did football become the sport for you then?
Football is the same reason. I was always a really big kid. It was kind of a given that I was going to play. It's kind of a given that I was going to play football, and so I started football at a really young age. Played flag football as soon as I could, like whatever 4th or 5th, whatever grade we started that in, and just kept going from there and into middle school and high school.
What did you enjoy most about wrestling? Why did you like that sport so much?
For me, I loved the actual wrestling part of it, but I loved going on those national teams and getting to know other great guys from around the state. Like the amount of relationships I built in wrestling from people all over the place was incredible to me, and they're some of my best friends to this day.
Your high school coach, wrestling coach, I read somewhere where he said you could have gone in college and been a 4-time All-American if you wanted to. So why did you make the decision to go football?
It's where I felt like I had the highest ceiling. I was really good wrestler. I was pretty raw at football, and I just thought, I was pretty good, but I was still really green. I had a lot to learn, and if I could just thought to myself, I could keep developing as a football player, like I could really get to where I want to be in the football aspect of things.
You know, Garrett Nelson was a wrestler too, and I talked to him, and he said how much the discipline and what he learned in the wrestling mat was just so huge in who he became as a person, but especially as a football player. What about for you, just some of the things that you learned as a wrestler just from the young age? How did that help you become the football player you became?
Yeah, a lot of the same stuff. Discipline was a really big thing. Just discipline in wrestling is pretty much everything. And just knowing your leverage, body awareness, all that really comes into football a lot too. And so that's where I think that really carries over, is just leverage, body awareness, knowing what's going on. That's where I think that carries over the most.
What about the mindset too, that wrestling and it's you and you and
yeah, in wrestling it's you and the other guy out there, right? Like every time I went on the mat, I was going out there to dominate the other guy. I was wrestling. It's the same thing in football. Every time I go out there, I'm trying to dominate the center the best I can every single play.
So that's where you got your nickname Polar Bear, right? It was on the wrestling mat.
Yeah, from wrestling.
Yeah. And then how much have you, I guess, why did you decide to embrace it so much when that started coming? You started being called the Polar Bear? And
my dad, some people said it and whatever, and so my dad started hashtagging the Polar Bear on some posts about me and stuff. And of course, when I committed to Nebraska, Husker fans saw that and just ate it up, and they loved it. And so I was like, well, I might as well just kind of roll with that. And so ever since then, now all my socials are that and all that and everything. So I just kind of really embraced it, and I love the nickname. So.
And now you got a commercial deal out of it, too.
Yeah, yep.
How was that, acting with the NIL stuff?
That commercial was pretty fun to shoot. It was just I've never done anything like that before, so it was just kind of a new experience, and it was fun.
You talked about, your reasoning for picking football and being green in the high ceiling, and how do you feel like where you were there, that when you made that decision to where you are now, how much has that progressed and kind of come to fruition?
Yeah, no, I'm miles ahead of where I was before, obviously. Just being around, I've been around a lot of coaches in my time here. Coach T, Doss, T Knight, all those guys, Chins. You pick up stuff from all those guys, and that's where I think I've done the most learning. I've been around a lot of people, a lot of football minds, and I think that's helped me in some ways. And now Coach Knighton, he's been awesome. He played nose in the league for 8 years. He knows all the little tricks. He knows everything. So having him this year is really awesome and really helped me.
Does it come to a point where things really click and slow down for you? Has that come to that point for you?
Yeah, for sure. Every year when freshmen come in, you can always tell it's just all of a sudden there's one day you're like, wow, there's that guy's out there making plays, and it's you can almost see when it clicks or when it starts to click for some guys, and that's exactly how it was for me too. It just like my freshman, sophomore year, going out there against Cam Jurgens every day. You know, he's the player he is. He's a great player. And having that, I think, really helped me in the long run as well. And just having the game slow down and starting to understand it more.
You talk about the D-line and wanting to set the tone for everybody else, but you personally, how much pride do you take in that and being the leader and helping set the tone for everybody else too?
Yeah, no, I take pride in it. Every time we go out in the field, we bring it up as a defense, and we basically just say, like, it's time, like let's get ready to roll. Like, it's time to show everything we've been working on, and then we run out there together as a unit, and it's just really fun to go out there and start the game how we did last week.
You guys have sacks and tackles for loss, and everybody's getting in on the action. How contagious and how fun is that to be a part of?
I mean, when you have guys just flying around having fun, when you're having fun with it is when it's just you get better as the game goes. When you have someone make a big TFL or get a sack and everyone's tapping them on the helmet, everyone's getting fired up, it just makes playing football that much easier because you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for those 10 other guys around you, and it's really fun.
It's not just the D-line, it's linebackers, it's the secondary. You guys just seem so in sync. How has that happened? What's gone into that to allow you guys to go out there and play so well as a unit on all three phases?
We always talk about building a brotherhood, and like all off season we were trying to do as much stuff as possible together as not just guys you hang out with, but you're doing it with DBs, you're doing it with linebackers, you're doing it with running backs, you're getting to know all the guys on the team. And so when it actually comes to a game of football and things are getting hard, you know why everyone's doing it, why everyone's out there doing it. It makes it so much easier to play, not only for yourself, but for those other guys around you. You don't want to let them down. That's I attribute a lot of that to that, like what we've done in the off season to help build that brotherhood.
I love that. What about Tony White and what he's been able to do as the defensive coordinator? What is it that allows what he does to be so successful?
His just the way these guys scout other teams, and just the chaos our defense brings. You know, we're trying to hide everything. We're doing all this different stuff, and it makes it tough on offenses. It slows down offenses with the way we do things and how we just attack the ball. And so I think that's the biggest thing is just. What they do is awesome, but I love how our guys just, even if they mess up something, we're all just flying to the ball. It makes it tough for offenses.
When you say chaos, how do you keep that not chaotic? You know, how do you make chaos without it being chaos?
It's controlled chaos out there. Like everyone knows their job and everyone knows what's going on all the time, and it's just that's you attribute that to your training. Everyone knowing what's going on all the time and executing it, and it makes it really fun.
Turnovers has been the big word, and takeaways and generating more. For as good as the defense has been, that's been the one thing that they've challenged you guys at. How do you guys generate more takeaways?
Yeah, they challenge us. I mean, every day at practice, they challenge us to turn over the ball. And every time there's a pile in practice, there's guys in there punching at the ball. I mean, we want to get the ball. We want to get the ball out. It just hasn't happened for us yet, and we're going to keep training how we do. Every time you get around the ball, you're trying to get a punch out. You're trying to intercept the ball. We're just attacking the ball all the time. And we're going to keep training that way, and it's going to pay off in the long run.
Let's talk about Louisiana Tech. Completely different team than what you guys just saw last week. They're going to throw it all over the place. Coach Will talked about that. What's the challenge for the defense this week against Louisiana Tech?
The challenge this week is just to just keep doing what we're doing, keep getting better. Just generate takeaways, playing stout defense, not ever taking our foots off the pedal, just the entire game, playing our game, win the rep every single time.
Last thing I got for you, just the way that the defense has played through 3 weeks, how much does that fuel you guys to get even better, to keep pushing, to not rest on what you've already done, but to continue to push?
No, it just elevates it, right? Like you said, turnovers have been the big talking point, but we're not doing anything different. We're just training how we train. We're getting the ball out as much as we can, and the coaches challenge us every week to just keep getting better and better. They're on our heads just as much about after a really good defensive game like that. They're the same coaches on Monday, and we're the same players on Monday coming in and wanting to keep getting better and better.
Thanks again to Nash Hutmaker for spending some time with us for this week's Cornhusker Conversation. We've got to step aside for a break here on Husker Game Day, but much more headed your way as we get you set for kickoff with Louisiana Tech.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal, because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
With over 75 years of wealth management experience, Bridges Trust understands the value of tradition and legacy. They have built their reputation by helping clients achieve their objectives by providing exceptional service in investment management, trust and estate planning, philanthropic consulting, and family office services. They are in the business to provide specialized, comprehensive wealth advisory services that are in the best interest of their clients to help them grow and preserve their legacies for generations to come. Bridges Trust. Trust for generations.
Agriculture is the economic engine of the Midwest. At Acres Equipment, we dedicate ourselves to making that engine run smoothly. We supply our farmers and ranchers with quality John Deere equipment, parts, and service. We also deliver the most advanced technology and precision ag strategies to help them farm today and for the future. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
This is the sound of a Husker game day. This is the sound of the opposing quarterback getting sacked on game day. This is the sound of someone enjoying a Big Mac. And this is the sound of that same someone getting another Big Mac for free.
All right!
Because the Monday after the Huskers get a sack, Big Mac is buy one, get one free at McDonald's. To review, this is what happens on game day. This is what happens on Monday. This fan is really happy.
All right!
And this is what the lawyers made us say. A la carte only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
I learned a lot of sayings from my dad. One of them was, do one thing, do it better than anyone else. At Dakota Mac, that one thing is long-term, fixed-rate loans for ag real estate. If you're considering expanding your ag operation or restructuring your debt, give Dakota Mac a call. They'll be happy to walk you through your options.
Hi, it's Boyd Minery from Dakota Mac. Call me at 402-463-4637 to learn all about our competitive rates on ag real estate loans.
There's room at the table. Saving you money on every gallon at a CVA fuel site, Central Valley Ag offers a 5-cent per gallon discount at the pump to CVA fuel card holders. Now, for a limited time, get a 5-cent discount and be entered to win 2 VIP tickets to a Husker football game when you get a new or additional CVA fuel card. Sign up to win at cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Farmers Mutual of Nebraska is proud to support Husker athletics. Having a confident teammate beside you makes all the difference when it comes to protecting what matters most. With a proven track record of dependable coverage, unmatched financial strength, and a prompt claim service team right here in Nebraska, that's insurance kept local. Visit FMNE.com to contact an agent for a quote today. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Nebraska withstands a record-setting air attack, and Frank Solich wins his Husker head coaching debut. Hi, I'm Nate Rohr, and this is Good Times, presented by the 1890 Initiative. For 19 years, Frank Solich had been one of the top assistant coaches in all of college football. As Nebraska's running backs coach, he'd instructed greats like Mike Rozier, Calvin Jones, Lawrence Phillips, and Amon Green. Upon the retirement of Tom Osborne after the 1997 season, Solich got a chance to lead Nebraska football as its head coach. The defending national champions first took the field under Solich's leadership on August the 29th, 1998, as the 4th-ranked Huskers face Louisiana Tech at Memorial Stadium in the Eddie Robinson Classic. Any worries that the Nebraska offense would sputter under new leadership were answered quickly. Appropriately on the first play of the game, the old Husker fullback gave the ball to fullback Joel Makovica, gaining 12 yards to the NU 42. A Chevin Wiggins run gained 12 more yards. Then on the third play of the game, new starting quarterback Bobby Newcomb took to the air.
Now Louisiana Tech would like nothing better than to bend that offensive line of Nebraska. They picked up 12 on the first play, 12 on the second. Newcomb, second collegiate pass, wide open, touchdown Nebraska. Bobby Newcomb is 2 for 2 in college throwing the football. That one covered 46 yards to tight end Sheldon Jackson.
Nebraska led 7-0 less than a minute into the game. Newcomb also ran for a first quarter touchdown. Then Willie Miller punched in a TD from 8 yards out early in the second quarter to push the Huskers' lead to 21-0. The Bulldogs got on the board with a 1-yard touchdown pass midway through the second quarter. On the ensuing kickoff, Joe Walker wasted no time answering.
This is Joe Walker at about the 2-yard line. Has some running room. Look out. Goodbye.
The extra point pushed the lead to 28-6 with just under 7 minutes to go until halftime. Another Newcomb touchdown run boosted the lead to 35-6, which would be the halftime score. But an air show by the visiting Bulldogs made things tighter than Husker fans had hoped. After Tim Rattay hit Troy Edwards for a 52-yard touchdown pass early in the third quarter, La Tech took to the skies again midway through the period to cut further into the Husker lead.
John Simon now moves over to the right of Rattay. From the 5. Again, lofts it up. Edwards runs by the defense. Look out! The 4-4 speed is on. Can they catch him? Touchdown, Louisiana Tech!
The extra point shrunk Nebraska's lead to 35-21. Edwards piled up an NCAA record 405 receiving yards on 21 catches with 3 touchdowns. But just when the Bulldogs were climbing back into the game, the Huskers' ground attack took over. Dan Alexander and Corell Buckhalter ran for touchdowns to push the lead to 49-21, and the Huskers held on to win 56-28. Buckhalter rushed for 143 yards on 19 carries with 2 TDs to power the Husker offense. Nebraska finished 9-4 that season. Good Times is brought to you by the 1890 Initiative. Do you want to support Husker student athletes through name, image, and likeness? If so, visit 1890nebraska.com. I'm Nate Rohr, and this has been Good Times presented by the 1890 Initiative.
Welcome back into Husker Game Day. I'm Jessica Cootie and joined by a special guest on the show today, Josh Weens, the Senior Director and Individual Market Leader with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska, a great partner of Husker Athletics. Josh, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, let's start there. Why does Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska, why are they a proud partner of Husker Athletics?
Yeah, we see ourselves as a champion for the health and well-being of every Nebraskan, and we all know that nothing brings our state together like a Husker Game Day. We also sponsor Sweep Away Cancer promotion for Husker volleyball games, and so every time the Huskers get a sweep, we donate $500 to the Team Jack Foundation to fight pediatric brain cancer.
Love that. It's awesome. Well, the insurance open enrollment period is coming up soon. What do Nebraskans need to know?
Yeah, annual open enrollment period this year is going to run from November 1st to December 15th. And what that means is for individuals and their families will go select their insurance options for 2024. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska returned to the ACA individual marketplace last year. We had a new product that we launched called Nebraska Heartland Blue. We know many Nebraskans and listeners today selected that plan for 2023, and we'll continue to have that coverage for 2024. So we wanted to give Nebraskans a new choice from a trusted partner. Affordability is top of mind for everyone, and premium assistance may be available for many people looking to enroll in a health plan from the individual ACA marketplace. And it's easy to find out if you're eligible for this assistance we've got a dedicated team of individuals ready to help answer questions. And you can contact them at the phone number 844-665-1121. Or if you already work with individual insurance agent or broker, feel free to reach out to them. They'd be happy to help answer your questions. And I just want people to know that their coverage under the individual ACA plans, they'll be getting more information about their 2024 renewal prior to November 1st. That will give them all the information that they're going to need to make a decision for next year.
Great information. Anything else we should know about?
Yeah, we just want to call out today, September 23rd, is the last day of National Farm and Safety Health Week. We know many Husker fans out there are entering a very busy harvest season, and we encourage all Nebraskans, especially our farmers and our ranchers, to stay safe and keep themselves healthy this year. Blue Cross Blue Shield Nebraska, we're here to help support your physical and mental health all year long. And we are a Nebraska company, and we understand the healthcare needs of all Nebraskans. And last but not least, go Big Red.
I love it. Josh Weens with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you guys so much for your continued support of Husker athletics.
Yes, thank you for having me today, and look forward to a great game.
All right. Thank you again to Josh Weens with the Senior Director and Individual Market Leader with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. We got to step aside for a break here on Husker Game Day. Much more of the show coming up.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Preparation. It's the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pregame routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal, because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
This is the sound of a Husker game day. This is the sound of the opposing quarterback getting sacked on game day. This is the sound of someone enjoying a Big Mac. And this is the sound of that same someone getting another Big Mac for free.
All right!
Because the Monday after the Huskers get a sack, Big Mac is buy one, get one free at McDonald's. To review, this is what happens on game day. This is what happens on Monday. This fan is really happy.
All right!
And this is what the lawyers made us say. A la carte only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is Big Red Football.
Did you know that Lincoln's water is 4 times more hard than what is recommended? This will shorten the life of your water heater, harm pipes through mineral buildup, and is bad for your hair, skin, and clothes. What's the solution? A water softener. Go online to jhlincoln.com to learn more about water softeners and our flexible financing offers, or call
John Henry's 435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
At Groundworks, we take great pride in helping our Nebraska neighbors keep their homes healthy. From repairing foundations to waterproofing basements to fixing crawl spaces or lifting concrete driveways. We'd like to think our customers choose us because of our attention to detail or the fact that we're the nation's leading foundation solutions provider. What gives our customers the most comfort is we're right here in Nebraska. Visit groundworks.com for a free estimate. Groundworks. Foundation solutions crafted with pride. The official foundation company of the Huskers.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared,
you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
There's no community like a Cenex community. And that's why every Cenex store is so proud to serve theirs by supporting local athletic teams, promoting the arts, and making sure each store is a place its neighbors can find what they need, catch up with their friends, and stay connected. It's also why we give back, helping to make the wonderful places we call home the best they can be. Your local Cenex doesn't just work in your town, it lives there. The store next door, powered locally at Cenex.
There's a hero in all of us. Pioneer is proud to partner with Nebraska and Iowa for the Pioneer Heroes Game. Together, we want to recognize and celebrate local heroes who exemplify the goal of positively impacting the community and who stand as an inspiration to others. If you have a family member or a community member you'd like to recognize, please nominate them at huskers.com/hero so we can celebrate the heroes in your community.
Woodhouse Chevy is making car buying better, now with 2 convenient locations in Missouri Valley, Iowa, and our newest location in Omaha at 112th and Dodge. Plus, going on now, receive up to $6,000 off MSRP on the 2023 Chevy Silverado. Visit us in-store or online anytime to shop our current offers and inventory. Find new roads with Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley and now in Omaha.
With Blue Credit, see dealer for details. Offer expires 7/31/2023.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day show here on the Huskers Radio Network. Ben McLaughlin, so excited to be joined now by one of the newest members of the Nebraska Hall of Fame, former Husker quarterback Taylor Martinez. Great to see you, man. First of all, congratulations. What's it like to be back here in Lincoln?
Thank you so much, Ben. Man, it's been incredible just being back for the past couple days and just showing up on Thursday night and just showing up to the stadium, seeing the stadium for the first time in probably about 10 years. And we showed up, came in, looked at the stadium, and just walked around. And we're like, this is just unbelievable. I can't believe I played for this university. And then the next day, got to, again, show up, met Jay Terry, who was my equipment manager when I was here. And then he just showed me around the stadium, and I saw those new facilities. I was like, holy cow, this is just wild. And if any other recruit sees the reaction that I saw, I was like, we're going to have a top 5 recruiting class in the country every single year. And just being able to walk through, see the cold tub, seeing the new locker room and just everything that's in there, it's unbelievable. And just the new practice fields, the new weight room. There's in the weight room, Jay Terry and Trev Alberts was telling me there's a hydraulic system. And so the hydraulic system goes up and down. You could be able to time a 40-yard dash on it. It's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah,
once everything is finished.
A lot's changed since you've been here, and I think it's just good the way that it is these days. Yeah. So we got to tell the story. You told me this story right before we jumped on here of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's pretty good. So let people know how you first found out and what you thought your reaction was.
Yeah. So I was telling you. So about 2 months ago, I get a phone call from a 402 number, and I saw the 402 number, and I was busy, and so I had to go to voicemail. And I listened to the voicemail, and it was Bob Mancuso telling me that I was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. I was like, huh. I had no idea about any of this stuff. And I listened to it. I was like, this can't be real. And so a month goes by, and then Keith Mann ends up sending me an email. It was like, hey, Bob Mancuso reached out to you, letting you know that you're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. I was like, wow, this is just unbelievable. And so then I call back Bob. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry that I didn't answer your phone call the first time. And so we just had a really good laugh about it. And so I just can't believe that I actually got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and just an incredible honor. Just being part of it, and every other great player that came through Nebraska wearing the N on the helmet is just wow. Yeah.
So you mentioned walking around the stadium, What did that feel like? I mean, you had so many electrifying plays on that field. What was there anything that kind of stuck out to you? Did it hit you kind of like a ton of bricks? What was the feeling walking back out on the field?
Wow. Yeah, I'm getting chills right now, just like as you were just mentioning that. But just like my very first touchdown run against Western Kentucky, just scoring that touchdown and just hearing the crowd roar and hearing that, and then again walking through the tunnel walk and just being part of that again, just like walking through the red carpet with my brothers and my dad, and it was just surreal. And being back and going back today to a game that I haven't been back to in a very long time, I'm so excited.
Let's talk about your first game, because no one really knew what this kid from California was going to bring to the quarterback spot, and it was pretty clear early on you're going to put on a show. Let's start first the night before the game. What were your emotions like, before you're going to take your first snap as Nebraska's starting quarterback, and with your offense, with the way that Coach Beck likes to do things and to use your feet. What was your thought process kind of going to bed, and then maybe on the bus ride over, what your first start was going to be like?
So I guess I'll take it back about 2 weeks prior to the first game. It was a scrimmage in fall camp, and it was like a 3rd and maybe 15, and I dropped back and hit Niles Paul like on a 15-yard dagger route. And it was one of the hardest I've ever got hit. So DeJon Gomes blitzes up the middle, and he just smacks me in my sternum. I was like, this is the hardest I've ever been hit. And so I was like, holy cow, this is like welcome to college football. And he ends up hitting me in my sternum. We end up completing that pass, and I think picked up like 20 or 25 yards in fall camp. I was like, I guess it's like time to play. And so then going into prepping for the game against Western Kentucky, and then showing up and completing my first pass of the game was awesome. And then being able to score my very first run. I think the first play, I think the name of the play was actually like trip strike gun 28 buckets, which meant I read the back outside linebacker. And so if the outside linebacker ends up running, I'm pulling the ball. And I don't think Western Kentucky realized that I could run. And so I ended up pulling the ball and ended up scoring that touchdown. And it was just a unbelievable feeling, and ended up just scoring a few more touchdowns. And, it was, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, I see the smile on your face when you're describing it. And I think you don't really know it when you're in it. As an athlete, like really what's happening. And usually, about the time of your age now, it starts to sink in, like what all that meant to you. Yeah. When that game's over and you're taking your pads off and you're just trying to remember what just happened. Do you remember what that was like after your first start, thinking like, okay, this is what it's like being a college quarterback?
I guess in the moment, you don't really realize it. Even playing as like a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And then I guess many years after that, like as you start to look back, come back and talking to former players and quarterbacks, like I talked to Heinrich yesterday, and like it's just in the moment you don't really realize what you have in front of you. And like I told him yesterday, like just continue to play with the passion that you've been playing with, and like great things are gonna continue to come his way. And like you don't. In the moment, you don't realize it. And I hope Heinrich or Jeff Sims ends up just taking everything that they've been playing with and just continue to play with that passion.
Well, I hope you realize now, there was a period in time where you took college football by storm. I mean, there was a song made about you, the T-Magic nickname. I mean, all that stuff came so fast and furious. And I feel like it all culminated that night in Manhattan against Kansas State. That was one of the more incredible quarterback performances that we've ever seen. How did that feel, knowing like the confidence you had in the huddle, calling the play, just knowing anytime we come out here and break in a huddle, we're scoring? Like, how did that feel?
Man, every time I felt like I touched the ball, I was going to score a touchdown, honestly. And sometimes Coach Watson or Coach Beck, they'd have to like actually lock a play for me. So I would have to hand the football off, because every single time I remember it. And I'm like, every single time I felt like I could score a touchdown. And it was a good thing to have, but I also probably should have learned early on to slide. And, man, I just remember every single time. Sometimes I guess I'd make the wrong read sometimes, but I'd be able to get around defenders, and they can't really do much about that, I guess, with like Coach Watson or Coach Beck. And you just play the game, and if you have the instincts and you feel like you can beat someone, just try to beat them, get around the corner, and score a touchdown.
Nebraska won a ton of football games with you at quarterback. I mean, you mentioned some of the John Gillum and some crazy defenses and a lot of talent around. You mentioned Niles, long career in the NFL. Obviously, you had some good running backs there as well. Kyler Reed, one of the more dynamic tight ends that Nebraska's had. BK, great receiver. You had some really good teams. When you think back to those teams, what do you remember most, Taylor, about winning that many games, playing for conference championships? You guys were a dang good football team.
Yeah, man. Just the thing that I remember the most is just the brotherhood that we had playing under Coach Bo. Like, everyone loved Coach Bo, and we had a fire and just about us and just playing under him. He was like a fatherly figure to us, and we wanted to win. You could see on the sidelines that Coach Bo wanted to win, and you knew when we went into the stadium that no one could stop our offense or our defense. And just being able to play as a team and as a family, like during our breakdowns every single time, we'd say family on 3. And so we'd break down on family. And so that meant everything to us. And just being part of that over the years, I just can't thank the team enough and the fan base. And it's true, like walking, like the sign that says on the side, like, walking through these gates are the greatest fans in college football. And that means a lot, and being able to play in front of those fans. And
it's really fun, talking to you guys and catching up with you years down the road, and seeing you years later. But it's always fun talking about the beginning of the journey too. Did you have any idea, a kid from California, what you were walking into coming to Lincoln, Nebraska, and how much those 4 years were going to mean to you, for the rest of your life?
I did not. And I mentioned this yesterday in the speech. And so I took a chance my junior year. I haven't told anyone this before. And so my junior year, I took a chance, and I sent my highlight reel to Coach Osborne. And Coach Osborne saw my tape, and thankfully he didn't throw it away in the trash. And he actually went a step further and gave it to Coach Bo. And so gave it to Coach Bo, and then the rest is history. And just for Coach Osborne to do that for me, that means so much to me. And for him to welcome me into this storied college football program that he helped build, it meant so much to me. And I talked with him for a while yesterday, and I just told him thank you very much. And it was just an incredible honor. He's an incredible coach, as everyone knows, but even a better person. And I just couldn't thank him enough. And when I showed up as my junior year, I think I showed up as like summer 2009 or 2008, before my senior year. I came and talked to Coach Osborne because he was the AD here, and just seeing him, and just because he's a legend coach, and like I grew up watching him and hearing about him and just seeing the offense, because growing up we also had like a Barstool, like a Nebraska N on, like whenever we played video games or anything like that, I would sit on like the Nebraska N. And so it was so cool, and being able to watch Nebraska, and I remember watching him. And so it's been, I can't thank enough for Coach Osborne and Coach Bo and the whole coaching staff, and just giving a kid from California a chance, because not many schools were looking at me, and Coach Bo gave me my first offer. And right when I came to Nebraska, it was just surreal. Like, I came and just looked at the field, and I came on an unofficial visit before I did a official visit, and I ended up committing, I think, a couple days later. And so that, just the tradition and the history and just the fan base, and just they're everywhere. And still to this day, like if I'm in California, if I'm in Tennessee, if I'm in Minnesota, wherever I'm at, there's Nebraska fans everywhere, and they always come up to me and talk with me. It's one of the coolest things in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly special, and it's great that, it's had such a positive impact on you and so many others. And now, being the newest representative of Nebraska's Hall of Fame, that's got to be a tremendous honor. It's great to see you, man. It's great to see you happy. You got your family here with you. It's awesome to have you back, and I'm sure it's just going to be an awesome day for you, and all the memories are going to come flooding back. We really appreciate you coming in and chatting with us a little bit.
really appreciate it. And I guess I just want to say one thing, and to the people that love me and to the people that weren't much fans, I know one thing: we all bled red. And I gave my heart out to the team, to that fan base, and all I know was I tried my best. So I just want to end with a go Big Red.
Absolutely, man. Well, I mean, it's a real treat having you back. You look back some of the last 10 years, some of the most insane play. Run against Wisconsin, man. I mean, how often do you think about that, or does that run come up? I mean, I know the game didn't go well, but for that 36 seconds, that was one of the most insane things on an athletic field anybody's ever seen.
Man, like I feel like I'm so tired to
I was
this
gonna
day.
say, you look gassed in the end zone. No, there's no question.
I didn't catch my breath until probably like halftime, honestly. And people still send me the highlight reel all the time, and and I didn't realize Spencer yesterday at the banquet was like, Taylor, I actually went the wrong way. And because it was like, there was like laser and razor was like our 2 play calls for like a rollout left or a rollout right. And he heard me say laser instead of razor. And so I guess Spence went left and I went right. And obviously they just came flooding to the right. And
worked out.
It worked out. Not the game, but
I guess. But that particular play was pretty special.
Well, that and the Kenny Bell hit, and just good things came out of it, but not the way we wanted.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to bring a championship to Nebraska, and so we played in. I guess I was part of 2, played in 2, part of 3, and then my senior year ended up getting hurt, and because I got hurt that very first game against Wyoming, and it was literally right after halftime, Amir ran the wrong way. I was like, oh no. So I tried to follow through the hole. I ended up landing on my shoulder, and so I ended up separating my shoulder that very first game. And then the last run play against Wyoming, my foot got caught and separate on me, and so that first game, it was my left foot was just done. I tore that ligament in the foot and then my shoulder. And so I was like, man. And I was like, this is my senior year. I got to continue to play. And then so I played the first game, second game, third game, and then played against UCLA. I was like, I can't walk. And then waited a game. And then I came back against Minnesota. And I was still trying to play. I was like, I need to go out there and try to play for the team, and then roll out left, and I just get blindsided. I'm like, so then I land on my shoulder again. I have my foot, and then I hurt my abdominal, and I strain my hip, and so my whole left side of my body is just shut down in the game. And I knew after that, I was like, I couldn't continue to go on. I gave it all for Nebraska, and yeah.
And we could tell. And it's great that it had such a positive impact on you, and to be rewarded with the Hall of Fame is just a tremendous honor. Really hope you enjoy your time here in Lincoln, and hopefully the Huskers can bring you a win. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Taylor Martinez with us here on the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day Show. We got plenty more after the timeout.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska exists to be there with you. They are rooting for the schools and teachers who make our communities great. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is proud to sponsor Touchdowns for Teachers and ask Husker fans to nominate outstanding educators who help Nebraska students reach their potential. If there's a teacher you want to recognize for the impact they've made in your community, find a nomination form at huskers.com/touchdowns for teachers.
I learned a lot of sayings from my dad. One of them was, do one thing, do it better than anyone else. At Dakota Mac, that one thing is long-term, fixed-rate loans for ag real estate. If you're considering expanding your ag operation or restructuring your debt, give Dakota Mac a call. They'll be happy to walk you through your options.
Hi, it's Boyd Minery from Dakota Mac. Call me at 402-463-4637 to learn all about our competitive rates on ag real estate loans.
This is Big Red Football.
There's room at the table. Saving you money on every gallon at a CVA fuel site, Central Valley Ag offers a 5-cent per gallon discount at the pump to CVA fuel card holders. Now, for a limited time, get a 5-cent discount and be entered to win 2 VIP tickets to a Husker football game when you get a new or additional CVA fuel card. Sign up to win at cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Here's to the locals, raised right here in the Western Corn Belt. The strong ones. We help them grow stronger, making world-class genetics research and technology local. The cutting-edge yet common-sense agronomy, the shake-em-up yields. Because we're born and raised here too, and we'll keep raising the bar to ensure you only get the best at Hoegemeyer. Raised local, raised right here. Learn more at therightseed.com.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
T&L Irrigation Company knows their way around a field and across it, into the corners, and even through storms. T&L engineers are constantly working on solutions producers need, like the new gooseneck cradle corner system attachment. It greatly improves corner span stability to tackle steep terrain and stand up to high winds. If you're looking to upgrade your corner system or add on new, call your T&L Irrigation dealer today or visit TLIRR.com to learn more. T&L, like no other.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. I like pizza and puppies. 2, cold hard info. The ERC is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refunds network of independent tax attorneys could help you claim it. 3, go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
Let's pause 15 seconds for station identification on the Huskers Radio Network.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
The Louisiana Tech Bulldogs are led by head coach Sonny Cumbie, who joined the program in the 2022 season. Cumbie has experience coaching at Power 5 schools such as Texas Tech and TCU and has brought his skill set to help improve this Bulldogs program. They come into this afternoon's game with a record of 2-2 with wins over FIU and Northwestern State, after going 3-9 last season, largely due to a winless record away from their stadium in Ruston, Louisiana. Coach Cumbie is looking to turn things around in 2023. The Bulldogs are led by new starting quarterback Hank Bachmeier this season. The redshirt senior quarterback from California has 5 touchdowns through the air this season, including 2 last week in a tough loss to North Texas.
2 tight ends, Rivera in as well. Willis the tailback. Handoff. Nope, he fakes the handoff. Throw over the middle, caught for a touchdown. Bulldogs. Cyrus Allen. Well, Bachmeier faked the handoff, pulled the football back. Cyrus Allen ran a quick slant or a little skinny post, and Bachmeier hit him right around the goal line for the touchdown. It'll be a 13-yard touchdown pass, and Louisiana Tech on the board.
Bachmeier spent 4 years at Boise State before transferring to Louisiana Tech for this season. He started the first 4 games of last season for the Broncos and threw 6 touchdowns. So far as a Bulldog, though, it's not been easy for him. In the 2 losses this season, to SMU on the road and North Texas last weekend, Louisiana Tech has allowed nearly 40 points on average for both games. The Bulldogs have really been relying on their signal caller to carry them through some early season shootouts. We'll see if he can put together a good performance through the air today.
Bachmeier barking signals.
He fires, loops it to the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Tech! A perfectly thrown ball to Kobe Duru.
Bachmeier was injured last week against North Texas and was listed as questionable for today's game earlier in the week. So there is a chance that Jack Turner could make his first start of his career this afternoon. The leading rusher this season for Louisiana Tech is true freshman Keith Willis Jr. The Houston, Texas native established himself as the top dog of this Bulldogs running back room after a superb outing against Northwestern State a few weeks ago. He went off for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 13 rushing attempts.
A big moment for those old-timers. There is running room. This is going all the way. Touchdown! Louisiana Tech.
That's Keith Willis Jr., Lynn, making the sprint to glory, number 21 for Louisiana Tech.
The Nebraska rushing defense stands with the best that the NCAA has to offer so far in the 2023 season, but Willis Jr. can become a problem for the Huskers if they aren't careful. He hasn't provided too much production in the receiving game yet for the Bulldogs, but taking handoffs has been working out just fine for him through the first 4 weeks.
2 receivers to each side of the formation. One tailback, Bachmeier hands it off, right side, nice run, up the middle, 50, to the 40, 30, to the 20. That is Keith Willis Jr. goes all the way, 65 yards to pay dirt, untouched.
Another productive back for the Bulldogs is Tyree Shelton, who was another rusher for Louisiana Tech with over 200 yards on the ground this season already, which includes this big play against Northwestern State.
2 wide receivers left, a pair on the right as well. Running room for the Louisiana Tech running back. He goes all the way. Touchdown, Louisiana Tech.
The top receiver for the Bulldogs this season has been Smoke Harris. The 5'7" pass catcher is shifty in space and a difficult cover for any defensive back. He started the season strong with 11 catches for 155 yards and a touchdown against FIU. Harris was contained pretty well in weeks 2 and 3, going for only a combined total of 56 yards in those 2 games. However, the redshirt senior was back to form last week in the loss to North Texas, going for 2 touchdowns in his 4 receptions.
Bachmeier gets the snap, takes the handoff over the middle, complete to Smoke Harris. Smoke Harris makes a man miss. To the outside, he's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. 19 yards on a little crossing pattern. Harris caught it, made about 3 guys miss, took it far side to the pylon, and it takes Louisiana Tech only 2 plays to cover 75 yards. Bachmeier, 2 completions in the first half for 2 touchdowns, and it's now 16-13.
The Huskers' passing defense has given up the 5th most passing yards in the conference through these first 3 games, and no doubt Smoke Harris is looking to continue the struggle for Nebraska's secondary today. We'll see if players such as Malcolm Hartzog can help slow down Smoke Harris today.
Tech trailed 37-20 here in the 4th quarter, but is trying for the game-tying touchdown. One-on-one far side, True Edwards. Bunch formation this side. They swing it out to Harris again. Up the field, to the 20, down to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Bulldogs! You gotta love it. They swing it out to Smoke Harris, and Harris made about 4 or 5 North Texas defenders miss and scores the game. Well, what could be the game-tying touchdown, extra point pending.
Defensively, it's been a tough start to the season for the Bulldogs. However, cornerback Willie Roberts has been excellent this season. The 5'11" senior DB was recently ranked as the 14th best cornerback through week 4 of college football this season by On3 Sports, and he forced an interception recently in Louisiana Tech's win over Northwestern State.
Vanderwall in the shotgun, takes the snap, drops back, looking, he's got time, still looking, now he's under pressure, he gets out of it, he's gonna heave it down the field into a crowd, and it is intercepted. It'll be an interception off the deflection. And is that Willie Roberts? It is.
Head coach Sonny Cumbie spoke to the media this week about preparing for the atmosphere inside Memorial Stadium and what it would take for his team to face the physicality that the Huskers have brought through the first 3 games of the season.
We know we've got a tough game this weekend against Nebraska, a great opponent. I mean, this is going to be one of the greatest environments really in all of college football. Their fan base is incredible. And so I think it'll be a lot of fun for our players to experience that and to go up and play against a great opponent in Nebraska. They're very big on defense. Offensively, they do a great job of running the football. They make no bones about the type of football and the style of brand of football that they want to play. They want to play a physical style on offense and defense and special teams as well. And so it'll be a great challenge for our guys to match that and to be able to compete. We're going to have a lot of great effort with offensive line and defensive line on both sides of the football. And so I'm excited about the challenge. Looking forward to get up to Lincoln, Nebraska and playing in this football game and finishing out our non-conference slate.
The matchup today between Nebraska and Louisiana Tech is just the 3rd meeting all time for these 2 programs. The Huskers have won both prior meetings, including the last game by a final score of 49-10 back in 2006. Today will be the 3rd time these teams have played each other in Lincoln. Nebraska is riding the momentum of their first win of the season and the first win of the Matt Rule era as the head coach of the Huskers. We'll see if they can pick up win number 2 today and get back to a 500 record to close out the non-conference schedule for the 2023 season. Reporting for the Huskers Radio Network, I'm Jake Schrontz.
Jake, great job. Thank you for the breakdown there on the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. This is Safety Saturday. Greg Sharp back with you here on Husker Game Day. Delighted to be joined by Bill Kovarik, who is with his Highway Safety Administrator for the Highway Safety Office. NDOT is a big part of our group here at the Huskers Radio Network. And it's Safety Saturday, folks. And what that means is over on West Stadium Drive, you have a chance to go by and see their display. Bill, great to have you with us here today. Tell us about Safety Saturday and what people can go see over on the west side of the stadium.
All right, yeah, we'll be over there on Stadium Drive to talk to fans about how to save your life when traveling on Nebraska roads. So stop by and check out the Seatbelt Persuader or experience what it's like to function impaired.
Let's talk about the year. Unfortunately, I've heard some news stories in the last couple of weeks about some crashes in and around Lincoln and around the state of Nebraska. Give us kind of an update. How have things gone in 2023?
Well, lately, yeah, there have been more crashes than we'd like to see, but overall, traffic fatalities are slightly below average this year in Nebraska. But we've still lost 147 lives already this year. Dangerous driving is not necessary. It's a choice people make, and innocent people don't get to make that choice when they risk their lives. So all Nebraskans need to drive with their seatbelts on, giving their full attention to driving and not being impaired.
That full attention, that can be something, right? Put that phone down. We talk about that all the time, and just keep your eyes on the road. And as you said, buckle up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, seatbelt use has decreased by 76%, or down to 76% in Nebraska. So that's about the lowest rate of any state in the U.S. So Nebraskans are dying at a much faster rate than anyone else around the country, with 70% of our vehicle fatalities not being buckled up right now. So a seatbelt is the best chance to save your life in any crash. It reduces your chances of dying in a crash by over 45%. So over 90% of the people in the U.S. wear their seatbelt, even in Louisiana. But in Nebraska, it's down to 76%. So we really need to get Nebraskans wearing their seatbelts.
Yeah, folks, we can do better. We can do better than that. Let's talk about a tough subject, and that's drunk driving. Is that still a problem on Nebraska roads?
Yeah, impaired drivers cost innocent lives every day. So nearly 700 people are killed or injured on Nebraska roads every year due to impaired driving. So these deaths and injuries can be avoided. Obviously, if you're going to drink or take drugs, don't drive. There are many options out there for safe ride home with a sober friend, taxi, rideshare, or many other options. So impaired driving is deceptively dangerous.
Well, Bill, good to see you. Let's hope the numbers trend in the right direction moving forward. And I know you'd love to have a lot of people stop by over on Stadium Drive before they walk into the stadium today for the game.
Yep, that'd be great. Just stop by and say hi.
Great. Bill Kovarik, thank you so much for being with us here on Husker Game Day. Speaking of driving, Trooper Dave keeping an eye on some of the streets and highways coming into Lincoln for the game today. Also, let's find one more reminder for you to buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Here again, Trooper Dave.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Traffic is in full swing now. I-80 westbound out of Omaha has a slowdown near the 432 ramps as traffic is getting on. Move to the left when you can. From there, it will be the same as you approach the 409, 403, and 401 exit ramps. Eastbound I-80 is moving side by side from Milford on into Lincoln. Takes 77 south to Rosa Parks Way into downtown. And I-180 southbound into the stadium is very busy, but still moving well for pregame. Fans, if you're not wearing anything to the game today, at least wear your seatbelt. Increase your chance of survival and reduce the risk of injury by putting your seatbelt on. Don't become a statistic. This has been Trooper Dave with the Nebraska State Patrol Traffic Report on the Huskers Radio Network.
On the Huskers Radio Network.
This is the sound of a Husker game day. This is the sound of the opposing quarterback getting sacked on game day. This is the sound of someone enjoying a Big Mac. And this is the sound of that same someone getting another Big Mac for free.
All right!
Because the Monday after the Huskers get a sack, Big Mac is buy one, get one free at McDonald's. To review, this is what happens on game day. This is what happens on Monday. This fan is really happy.
All right!
And this is what the lawyers made us say. A la carte only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Preparation. It's the key to success on game day. And like your favorite Huskers on the field, you need to be ready right from the opening kickoff. Cenex has your pregame routine covered. We've got your salty snacks, your sweet treats, ice-cold beverages to wash them down, and fresh tanks of propane to fire up the grill. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally.
With over 75 years of wealth management experience, Bridges Trust understands the value of tradition and legacy. They have built their reputation by helping clients achieve their objectives by providing exceptional service in investment management, trust and estate planning, philanthropic consulting, and family office services. They are in the business to provide specialized, comprehensive wealth advisory services that are in the best interest of their clients to help them grow and preserve their legacies for generations to come. Bridges Trust. Trust for generations.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska exists to be there with you. They are rooting for the schools and teachers who make our communities great. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is proud to sponsor Touchdowns for Teachers and ask Husker fans to nominate outstanding educators who help Nebraska students reach their potential. If there's a teacher you want to recognize for the impact they've made in your community, find a nomination form at huskers.com/touchdowns-for-teachers.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
Do you need to relocate to a different city or state, but don't know where to start? If so, put the power of BHA Real Estate to work for you. BHA will set you up with the best real estate agent in your new town. Have a house to sell first? No problem. They can assist you with that as well. With over 70 years of experience, BHA has a network to ensure one of the biggest transactions in life will be handled with care that you deserve and the service that you can trust. Give BHA Real Estate a call today for all your relocation needs. 308-324-5581.
Flu season is here, and your Hy-Vee pharmacy is here to help you stay healthy. Get your flu shot at Hy-Vee today and get a 20-cent Hy-Vee fuel saver. You can get your flu shot anytime the pharmacy is open. No appointment necessary. That's right. Get your flu shot with no appointment necessary. Get your flu shot today and earn a 20-cent Hy-Vee fuel saver. Only at Hy-Vee. Some restrictions apply.
It's time for another round of Nebraska Farm Facts. If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens. Farmers and ranchers raise livestock and poultry to provide nutritious, affordable protein for all ages to help build muscle and maintain energy for a healthy lifestyle. Keep that in mind as you prepare all that tasty meat on your tailgate grill. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
There's a hero in all of us. Pioneer is proud to partner with Nebraska and Iowa for the Pioneer Heroes Game. Together, we want to recognize and celebrate local heroes who exemplify the goal of positively impacting the community and who stand as an inspiration to others. If you have a family member or a community member you'd like to recognize, please nominate them at huskers.com/hero so we can celebrate the heroes in your community.
For farmers, productivity isn't an option, it's everything. And at Valley, we feel the same, delivering game-changing technology and irrigation solutions that advance agricultural productivity, with the results to prove it. From our leading irrigation technology to expert advice, you can always rely on Valley to bring out the best in your farm. At Valley, productivity isn't an option, it's everything. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
You're listening to Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac on the Huskers Radio Network.
This week's Husker Athlete of the Week is Husker volleyball player Merritt Beeson. The Florida transfer helped the Huskers defeat Stanford and Kentucky and Ohio State last night. The junior had season-high 17 kills and 10 digs in the 4-set win over the Wildcats and 15 kills on the road against Stanford. Huskers currently ranked second in the country. Our Athlete of the Week brought to you by BMO, proud sponsor of the Huskers Radio Network. We're committed to helping our customers make real financial progress. To learn more, visit BMO.com. And our weather impact tonight, brought to you by SOS Heating and Cooling. With fair prices, honest opinions, and longer warranties, they are Omaha area's trustworthy company since 1950. Rain out of here. So rain should not be an issue. Weather shouldn't be an issue here today. Prairie Valley keys to today's performance, I think, for Nebraska. Continue to find your identity offensively. What does the new look offense look today? And, of course, for the defense, continue to do what you're doing. Keys to today's performance brought to you by Prairie Valley Seeds. Grow without limits. That'll wrap us up here on the Dakota Mac Husker Game Day Show. Coming up next, countdown to kickoff. The voice of the Huskers, Greg Sharp, has you next.
This is Husker Game Day, brought to you by Dakota Mac. You're listening to Big Red Football.
Is your garbage disposal not disposing? You had one job. Drains backing up can cause a horrible smell in a home, damaged pipes, and so much more. Some signs that your garbage disposal may be going out include frequent clogs, abnormal and louder noises than normal, or water is leaking from the bottom, just to name a few. John Henry's is here to take care of all the pipes and drains in your home. Call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air.
Tired of worrying about what to make for dinner? Try Gary's Quick Steak. It's delicious, convenient, and easy to make in minutes as it cooks from frozen. It also has over 20 grams of protein per serving, is gluten-free, and is made with real beef and chicken. Enjoy sandwiches, enchiladas, stir-fry, quality sirloin, chicken, and corned beef ready in minutes. Simply sizzle, flip, and savor.
I promise you, if you try it, you're absolutely going to love it.
Visit our website to find a store near you.
Farmers Mutual of Nebraska is proud to support Husker athletics. Having a confident teammate beside you makes all the difference when it comes to protecting what matters most. With a proven track record of dependable coverage, unmatched financial strength, and a prompt claim service team right here in Nebraska, that's insurance kept local. Visit FMNE.com to contact an agent for a quote today. Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, always alongside you.
We could tell you all about what makes Ford F-Series the #1 trucks in America for 46 straight years. But why tell you when we could show you instead? Because in the Midwest, talk is cheap and actions speak. On the lake, on the job, or on the town. Choose the trucks that deliver on the claims. Ford F-Series is made for the real world. This is Chiefs Kingdom. Get 3.9% financing for 66 months, plus up to $37.50